if NIP Flash couldn't draw a 2-1 or a 2-0 in favor for them, then that is gonna be really difficult. In fact, since we're talking about NIP Flash versus GigFam ID, that game is running concurrently with this very game itself. So even for RSG Philippines, they won't be able to find out if whether they made it to playoffs or not, even after this game is ended, unless, you know, NIP Flash versus GigFam ID finished.
They just really need to focus right now, right? Just
Yes.
focus on themselves, try to perform as best as they can, and, you know, try to look for their identity, like you mentioned earlier on here, Staffa. And the thing is, maybe with the roster shakeup with Irad coming back in, it has impacted them in a way. So let's hope that they can draft to what they excel the most as we come back into this first game.
I do believe that when it comes down to Liquid versus RSG Philippines, there is a little bit of a beef going around, if I'm not wrong.
Is that so?
If I am not wrong, because when it comes down to both Demon Kite and Ira, they kind of have something against Kaltizi. So maybe I think I heard this somewhere, but I can't really confirm that.
Oh, a little bird told you?
Interesting.
A little Johnny told me.
Your team is picking.
All right. I think we can definitely play on that a little bit here, because I wouldn't know what the beef was about, but I would imagine that Carl, as a player, has a lot of accolades under his name, and as someone who hasn't played a lot of Assassins recently, has gained flack up until yesterday, right? So whether or not he continues down that line of Assassin is going to be a very interesting one, because quite a few of them have already been banned out.
Now, of course, we have got, when it comes down to the Assassins, Ling, Fatty, and Hayabusa already taken away. In the meantime, we also have got Harith, Roger, and Chip taken away. So Team Liquid PH now have got quite a little bit of options. Moskov is currently still open. If they're open to the idea of picking up Jusin, which is something that Sanji has piloted before, that could also be a possibility.
Yeah, for TLPH, one of the things that we've noticed so far from them is their what would you call it? The way that they draft, they either usually go for either the Zask in the first phase or the Moskov when it's
Zask,
opened
right,
up, right?
yes.
So the Zask is still up for grabs for them to pick up,
There
but
we go.
they opted to go for the Moskov, and the Moskov has shown his place in this meta, right? I
Yeah.
think a couple weeks ago we saw the Harith always being prioritized in the gold lane, but now with the Moskov, with everything being a skill matchup, it really does favor the gold lane a little bit more when the Moskov is being put in there. And for RSG Philippines, we do see the Zask coming through as well as the Julian.
Boo! Boring!
It is kind of boring to watch that.
I'm gonna keep on going that throughout the entirety of the tournament, man. Whenever Zaz appears, I'm just gonna boo him.
I can get behind that movement personally, but you can't deny the fact that he is still a very effective hero here. So hopefully Liquid will be able to deal with that somewhat, and I do think they already have the tools for it. We have highlighted in the past, Minotaur Faramis is a very powerful team fight combination, and Liquid are a team that likes the team fight. So having this under their belt already enables them to make really aggressive plays towards the mid game.
This is a very team fighty team from the side of Team Liquid Philippines, at least for now. This is the main core that they want to work with, being able to, like you said, go on very aggressive at the start with the help of the with the help of Realm, while we can also expect them to work with the Minoan's Fury to really engage throughout the entirety of the team fight. And RSGPH actually drafted this Claude on top of the on top of these two heroes, Faramis and Minotaur. What do you guys think about that? Because personally, I don't like it.
It's interesting, right? But a lot of people have said that the Claude is actually the counter towards the Faramis. So it really depends on how the execution and the implementation of skills happen when the team fights begin, right? Because if the Claude waits patiently after the Minoan Fury gets hit, and then we see the Netherrealm being popped off in as well, the Blazing Duet comes in after, and that will negate all that extra HP coming in from the Netherrealm. But of course, we also have to take into consideration that the Minoan Fury can cancel the Blazing Duet from the Claude.
Yes.
So it's a tricky way, I would say, in these particular team fights. It just really depends on how disciplined everyone is and how not trigger heavy they are in the team fights as well.
So that means that it means a lot to Kusei to find the right timing to go in with the Blazing Duet. The problem is that right now, okay, I wouldn't say it's a problem actually. In fact, it's actually a lot better for RSGPH because they haven't picked their EXP laner, they haven't picked their roamer as well. So this could eventually be able to set them up for something to be able to kind of tank up for Claude and just buy enough time to make TLPH use the Minoan's Fury and the Nether's Realm.
I actually do quite like that RSG has left EXP and Roam for their last two positions, because making sure you're picking the right hero to counteract Liquid here is going to be very important. Now that they've already shown all of their sources of DPS, they gotta make sure that the final two heroes are actually able to set up those windows of opportunity for them to make sure Clark can come in, deal with the Nether Realm without being disrupted by the Minoan Fury, and they're still keeping things open as well. They're picking the Edith so that they can see Liquid's lineup first.
I think that Ruby is actually picked from TLPH to deny RSGPH of that. So right now, durability is available on the side of Edith for RSGPH. So the EXP lane, we gotta have to work with some form of sustainability, which is in this case, I think that even for a Lapu Lapu, it might work.
But what about the Carl Teasy Lancelot though? I feel like we gotta talk about that a little bit.
I mean,
this is Carl Teasy on his hero. His hero.
Yeah.
And it's a big denial away from Irad, because so far Irad has been picking up the Lancelot quite recently. So you mentioned about the Ruby takeaway, but not just the Ruby, it's also the Lancelot takeaway. It puts RSG in a position where, alright, we're going to be forced on heroes that maybe we're not too familiar with as well. And with the Kufra being picked up too now.
That's fine. That's great. Right. To be able to cancel out the Ruby as well, Ruby, technically the Moskov, and Lancelot, I'm down with that. But you know, the Lancelot, we did talk about this very briefly in the previous series. So Dafa, you yourself did mention that, you know, Lancelot is kind of in an iffy spot.
I straight out said that this is no longer Lancelot era. So I will make the claim.
Throwing the ball back to you.
If Carl Teasy can win a game and show off impressive performance on Lancelot when it's no longer his meta, he will truly cement his place back as an assassin carry.
That means that they may actually be the final contender to Udurate Giants. The question that we surfaced to all of the viewers during the pre-show. Is TLPH really the true contenders to YRG? This is the game where we gotta have to look out for that. Team Liquid PH, they are vying for the chance to show who they are, while RSG Philippines is fighting for that lifeline. So who's the one that will win game number one? Let's see.
I'm very excited to see you. Once again, thank you, Abstract. We'll catch up with you once again once the game is over, as we jump into game number one with Team Liquid Philippines on the blue side versus RSG Philippines on the red.
Coming into this game, I think a lot of people are already eyeing TLPH as one of the favorites, but wait a second, in the mid lane, this is one of the things that I really wanted to talk about, right? Because I understand that they are trying to put their eggs in the way, for TLPH in particular, right? Putting their eggs in a way that they are leading in these team fights, but I'm worried about the mid trio prio. Sanji is going to struggle. Wait a second.
Sanford in some trouble. Forced the flicker very early. Even the Purify forced out by Sanji by a 4-man rotation in the mid lane. RSG, unfortunately, not able to get any kills, but just still continuing onwards right into the enhanced chain. And we can see a kill. First blood goes to Irad.
So back to that point, right? That really just underlines the point that I was trying to make. The fact, oh, wait a second, it's gonna have to wait again.
Benny has Purify, but he doesn't have enough HP. So another kill going quickly to RSG. Here comes Carl. He's aiming for Light. Already half HP. Torn Rose, will he be able to finish? The puncture misses. Light flickers away just in time and survives.
Man, RSG Philippines, they are angry in this early stage of the game. They understand that they have the mid trio prior, but wait a second.
Guys, let Eterna talk a little bit. Sanford trying to survive under the tower. Not gonna do so. Irad picking up names, already 2 kills.
This is what I was worried about, right? Faramis is great in these team fights. JP is going to be great in these team fights on the Minotaur, but they don't have the mid trio prio. They're not going to be able to clear as fast as Aqua on the Zask, as well as Light with the Kufra. And now the setup is just perfect. RSG Philippines, they're controlling all these side lanes coming through. They're actually leading with a 1.4k gold lead, and now they're centering around their next neutral objective. Light already opening up the vision, opening up the map, and it's all really going to come down to who's going to be able to set up better and who's going to get that level 4 power spike faster.
Yep, I really like what RSG Philippines has been doing so far. Light looking pretty engaged once again, bouncing ball, keeping the cow underneath the Dominator's descent. JP forced to back off, not even level 4 yet on the Minotaur. The rest of Liquid looking to get on top of Turtle, but Irad will secure it easily. Nibor buying a lot of space, powers the Primal Wrath. NetherRealm actually, just barely reaches, but is burnt out instantly, and a Tyrant's Rage on 2. Sanji and Kaltizi picked off in quick fashion, and Kusei even wins the 1v1 against Benny.
This is not good. This is not good at all for Team Liquid. If they were banking on the fact that they had a better team composition, the fact that they're losing all these side lanes put them in the inevitability that even if they want to go full 5, the way that they're actually behind on 3.7k gold, it's going to be a lot more difficult for them to get into the winning conditions that their team composition had. RSGPH now are going to be able to get that turret in the top side, granting them way more maneuverability around the map, but what's happening here?
Yeah, Kaltizi, he's stuck, bouncing ball, just barely manages to puncture out thanks to a little bit of presence from JP. I'm really loving the aggression coming in from RSG, already 6-0. Maybe this is the identity they've been looking for.
Finally, right? I mean, they understand the position that they're in, right? They're so precarious on the standings that if they lose even one single game, that will put them behind amongst everyone else in their group. And look at this, they're playing as objectively as possible. Light though charging.
Ooh, Carl actually able to steal back that purple buff. Nibor gets the onwards, probably on the wrong target though. Has to flicker out of tower range. That means Minwoo and Fury hits nothing. But Liquid at least can get out. Oh, hold on. Really nice Tyrant's Revenge. Gonna be cancelled by the I'm Offended. RSG looking for another kill. Forces out the NetherRealm. No casualties here, but a lot of resources used by Liquid.
For sure, and that's right before the turtle spawns, right? Only 15 seconds left for that next neutral objective to spawn, and RSGPH, they're in a position where they have everything to their advantage, right? Irad right now level 8. We do see Kaltizi is actually falling behind at level 7. You mentioned that this may not be the Lancelot era, and every time RSGPH picked it up, they haven't been able to secure that win. So Kaltizi on the Lancelot also not having a great time.
And speaking of the instant combo, Light just takes him out, even gets the kill for himself despite everyone else there, and secures a free turtle for Irad.
It's only been 5 minutes, Dafa. Only 5 minutes, and look at everything that RSG Philippines have picked up for themselves. They have all the neutral objectives, they've picked up a turret, they have all the gold shield as well. I'm pretty sure Kusei is on his merry way to his second item at this point.
Now, where has this RSG Philippines been this entire tournament? Oh, better late than never, because they're continuing. Light charging up, unfortunately misses the Tyrant's Revenge. Minwoo and Fury forced out, hits 2 under the tower, blazing duet, whittling them down, finishing up JP, killing spree for the Claude. And NetherRealm has to be used just to escort Benny out to safety.
Man, Kusei's already leading in 2k gold. In 5 minutes, he has the Corrosion Scythe already on his way to his second item. Benny QT unable to even pick up his boots, right? So everything is kind of on the line here. I think TLPH needs a little bit more time to get into those power spikes, into those item power spikes for themselves. Sanji's also falling behind, just able to get that enchanted talisman as compared to the Zask, who's already built in his first item too. So it's a tough position now for RSG. Not RSG, sorry, TLPH. And now you guys get a little bit of a graph here. DHS also built in, but wait a second.
Oh, they're hungry for some beef, and they will find it. Mega kill for Kusei. JP down before he's able to do anything. And the rest of Liquid just have to back it off. Irad even using Retry to slow down Kaltizi. The threat from RSG is massive. This should be a free tier 2. Light comes in, finds one. The stun not gonna come out in time. That means Benny goes down, and Sanford will follow right afterwards. Another double kill for Kusei. 6-0 on the Claude.
A 3-0 trade, right? 2 kills as with the tower, but wait a second.
Another Tyrant's Rage. They found Kaltizi. NetherRealm will keep him alive. Torn Rose, he actually does get out. Well played there. Able to escape his fate. But Liquid, you can see just how much of a threat they're under. There's nothing they can do. Minwoo and Fury flickers forward. For what, JP? There's no follow-up. You need to get out now. Kusei even BMIing forward. Liquid, what do they do?
That's the question, right? What do they do? Because technically, this is what TLPH has been able to do to other teams. This is the Echo Express finessed by RSGPH. They're giving them a taste of their own medicine, and it looks like TLPH have not found the solution to it just yet. All they can do right now is try to get Benny QT to his power spike. He's still on one item, still only holds on to the corrosion scythe. He is falling 3k gold behind of Kusei on the Claude at this point, and they're nowhere near in a position to be able to go in for the contest. It's only been 7 minutes!
Ooh, Carl just barely dodges the Tyrant's Revenge, has to use his ult to escape from the Kufra. And you can see Liquid can't even punish RSG for deep diving into their jungle. You can tell the difference just from their items, where Sanford has to go first item Radiant, while Light can afford to greed for an immortality.
That's the main difference. It looks like concealed play though.
I don't think he's gonna commit here. This is a little bit too much. Like, RSG can give Liquid some time to breathe.
Look, I'm so used to every time you pass it over to me for something big to happen. So I was in a little bit of a disbelief there. We do see a charge coming through. Doesn't really actually commit onto it. But again, that is going to be another neutral objective taken over for RSGPH. Now, with so much action, do you really believe that it's only been 8 minutes?
I can't believe it's only been 8 minutes, and it's 11 kills to 0. This is Liquid Echo. I can't believe they're in this situation.
And now they're pushing it even further, right? RSGPH, they don't want to give Team Liquid a chance to breathe whatsoever. Even these buffs have been taken out, but look at this, what that...
Ooh, a nice catch down here. Aqua picked off instantly. We did not see what happened, but I assume it was Sanford with the I'm offended based on the ult cooldown. So RSG get punished a little bit here, but will it be enough?
That's a big question. 13 seconds is all they need to kind of revert back to the push that they initially wanted for themselves. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough time, but it looks like Light is looking for a position. But wait a second.
Sanford again, the I'm offended finds Irad. Shut down, given over to Moskov. Probably the best person to get it. But here comes the Blazing Duet. NetherRealm has to be used to cancel out damage. Primal Wrath as well. So much DPS coming in from RSG Philippines. There's already one down. That's Sanford, JP, Sanchi. Just all falling down like bowling pins. Triple kill for Nibor on the Edith. And now Light looking for another engage or just scaring the remaining members. It's a 3v3. Liquid will be able to defend against the Lord, but how much more damage will they take?
That's the question. And now they are going to try and look for a way to clear in those waves, but Carl Tise goes in very aggressively.
Phantom Execution, he gets it! Shut down onto Kusei, punishing his positioning, perfectly identifying the BMI.
But that was beautiful, right? That does buy Team Liquid a little bit more time to revert back, to reset, to restart. They do lose an inhibitor turret in the top side, but lucky for them, that's exactly the side where this Lord is going to be spawning back into the game. And surprise, surprise, right? TLPH, now the Moskov, Benny QT already has his holy trinity being built, Corrosion Scythe, Golden Staff, as well as that DHS. So he is in a position where he can put in the damage, and luckily enough for him, there's not a lot of physical defense items that have been built. I think one of the main differences now for them in the team fights is the fact that the Claude, that Kusei has already got that Wind of Nature. So that is going to be a deterrent when it comes down to it.
Yeah, I'm glad Kusei didn't go too greedy with their itemization there and still decided to go Wind of Nature as a 4th item. Because even though RSG have this lead, we can see that Liquid is still finding opportunities. And they really want to avoid a comeback situation. Sanford, nice, I'm offended, onto 2. Stops the engagement by Light. JP doing a good job of zoning as well. They did not fall to the engagement from RSG.
Not just yet. 14 seconds left. And again, right, the fact that the inhibitor turret that was taken down for TLPH in the top side is on the same side that RSG Philippines want to go and contest the Lord does give them a little bit more of an opportunity to utilize these waves to their advantage. So it's not so much worse of a situation for TLPH. There's definitely something that they can work with. Kaltizi now at level 13. Meanwhile, we do see Irad at level 15. So that's the main disadvantage coming into this neutral objective. Irad should have the better time of getting that retribution down. And it looks like TLPH, they know this.
I think backing off here is the correct decision. They tried poking in their heads a little, but they realized that RSG were already on top of the Lord. So better to regroup. Don't lose anyone here to defend against this, because it's only the first of the game. So you usually shouldn't do too much damage.
Right now, RSG Philippines, they're playing this perfectly, right? They understand that Team Liquid want to go in for team fights. Even from the start of the game, they didn't allow that 5v5 team fight from happening. They were able to get scrambles across the board, get pickoffs across the board, and utilize that to their advantage and eventually pick themselves up in a snowball.
And they finish it off. Light finds one, gets cancelled once again. Actually has the flicker out to safety, so no clean engage here for RSG. They'll get the mid inhibitor, but the Lord has already fallen as well. Sanford gonna miss the I'm offended. Here comes the Nether Realm. Liquid wants to commit for a fight. They're actually able to cancel the engagement once again from the Kufra, but Blazing Duet doing so much damage. Calteasy gonna be the first one to fall. Sky Piercer on his ass, finishes him off. The crystal is exposed. Liquid trying their best to defend, but it is not enough. RSG Philippines with the win in game number 1.